Hello everyone, I'm Glenn Joshua and I will be your tutor today for data structures and algorithms. So our lesson number 1 will be all about the overview of data structures. So let's begin. So first we have to discuss about data type. So these are a set of values from which a variable, constant, function, or other expression may take its value. It is a set of the same kind of data processed by the computer. So an example of these are integer, character, real number, boolean, date and time. Integer, as we all know, are simple numbers like 4, 67, 34, 35. And then next we have character. We have that are enclosed in single quotation marks like G, B, or the @ sign symbol. And then real number, these are the ones that are negative or are positive and that have decimal places. And then next, we have Boolean. So Boolean are those that are false or true, which are represented by 0 or 1. And then lastly, we have date and time. For example, July 4 or 7/4 or 10:45:00. This is an hour, a time, or 10:45 p.m. or a.m., depending on the format. Next, we have data structures. So these refer to the methods of organizing a collection of data. Take note on the collection of data for it to be manipulated effectively or easily. So it is a collection of variables that can be of several so so it is a collection of variables that can be of several different data types connected in various ways. So as I've said, collection of data, because here in data structures we can have multiple data types like integer, character, that are all linked together in a specific or various way, which we will discuss in the next coming lessons. So next, these are the classifications of data structure. So there are two: the basic data structure, which falls into three lower categories: basic data type, structure or structured type, and the abstract data type. Here, this one, the line here, the basic data type, simple type, these are the most basic or fundamentals, as you will see later. And then here, going down here, the problem-oriented data structure, these topics will be like the focus of your semester if you're a PUP student right now watching. This will be the focus of your semester in data structures and algorithms. Okay, so next we have the categories of data structure. We have primitive data structure, which includes integer, character, real, and boolean. And then simple data structure, the array, string, record, and so on and so forth. There are so much here. Just take note of it and do your research, or if you want to know more about them, you are free to do so. But from here you will be able to know these. For this semester, we will be tackling, or you will be getting to know these topics, and we'll be there to guide you with more videos to come. So stay tuned. So next, we have the basic data structure. So you have the basic data type. So these are a set of individual data and is frequently used to create a program. We have the simple type. So as I've said, these are the most basic data, which is usually declared according to the syntax of a rule of language. We have the integer, real number, character type, logical type, enumeration type, and partial type. So enumeration type, these enumerate all possible values of variables, so multiple values here. And then partial type, these are used to specify an original value by constraining existing data types, thus identifying upper and lower limits of a variable. Oh, yeah. And then next we have the structured type. So structure type is a data structure that contains a basic data structure or any of the defined data types as its element. So first we have an array type, which is also known as a table. So these are a finite set of elements that have the same type reference under a common name. And individual data is called an array element. So here we have the different types of array. First, we have the one-dimensional array, as I think we're all familiar with this. So a one-dimensional array is a linear type of array that's in a straight line. And then actually here the indexes are not that accurate as what we've known or what we've studied, because if you guys don't recall, the indexes should start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. But for the sake, I guess for the sake of this diagram, it started with A1 because we assume, or let's assume that this is int array R. That's how they created this array. Alright, next we have a two-dimensional array. So this, it now implements it looks more like a spreadsheet now, or like a table. Yeah, so here again the indexes are not that accurate per se, because this should be 0, 0, 1, 0, then 2, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, and 2, 1. But there we go. Alright, so the next one is a three-dimensional array. So this, I guess it was explained to us, or it can be explained as a Rubik's Cube. So I was able to understand it by this drawing. There we go. You see, that's a very good drawing. So that is how a 3D array looks like. There we go. There. So let's say we want to access this this data 1 to 1 in 1 to 1. That we, so let's say we fudge. So let's say we want to access this specific data 1 to 1. So in the program, or we write the code as int. Let's assume that this 3D array is called as array. And then first we have enclosed in a bracket is the array, and then we have the row, and then lastly we have the column. So in order for us to access 1 to 1, we have to write in, let's say, array 0, because we're going to choose the first array. It is in row 1 and it is in column 0. So with that we'll be able to access 1 to 1. Alright, then next we have the last type of array is the multidimensional array, which are n-dimensional arrays that can be defined. These may have certain limitations to the number of definable dimensions depending on the type of programming language or compiler. So for example, we're going to be using C. I don't think C has multidimensional arrays. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I can remember, it only goes up to 3. So there might be limitations, but in Java, I think it supports multidimensional arrays. So then we have the types of array. We have the static array, which is specifically where the number of elements, or the number of array elements are defined. In this case, you have 7. And the dynamic array are those arrays that are not initialized at the start and can grow, can have more how do you say that? From the word itself, dynamic, it can grow. It can have a lot of it is not bounded to a specific number of elements. And then next we have the record type. So a record type is a set of elements having different data types referenced under a common name. So we might know it, or you might be familiar with structures. So that is a type, that is a record type. So a structure basically looks like this. Let's say we have student info, and then there we have the ID number, ID now, which can be either an integer or a string, because sometimes our ID numbers have letters. Next, you have the first name, middle initial, last name, which can be a string, a character or a string, and also a string. Then we have the birthday, phone number, and so on and so forth. So as you can notice, it is composed of multiple types of data types, and they are all referenced under one name. So that is a record type, also known as structures. Then lastly, sorry. And then lastly, we have the abstract data type. So the abstract data type is a mathematical model where a set of data values and associated operations are precisely specified independent of any implementation. It is a kind of data abstraction where a type's internal form is hidden behind a set of access functions. So this can be done through abstraction or data encapsulation, which is a part of the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming. So that will be all for the overview of data structures. You now know the foundations of data structures, and on our next lesson, we'll be now talking about the methods of data structures. So stay tuned on that video, but until then, I'll see you soon. Thank you.